What was meant to be the happiest day of my life turned into a horror movie. Every married woman would think that the first marital issues start with keeping the house clean and paying the bills on time. However, for me, the last thing I expected to happen would be a malicious entity haunting me. It all started with me and my husband, Robin, getting married and moving in together. While I dealt with the wedding planning stress, he made sure to deal with housing and setting up the mortgage. The only issue in this predicament, every single one of our family members kept saying there were paranormal activities in the neighborhood. While I didn't believe in this paranormal activity, even my dad said there were shady schemes that would happen surrounding the house we bought. Nonetheless, me and Robin moved in within a week and were extremely excited for the new adventures to come. While I continued dusting the headboards, I found a hidden door that was behind the bookshelf. Curious, I decided to delve deeper. I cautiously opened the door, revealing a narrow staircase that led to a dimly lit basement. The air grew colder as I descended the creaky steps. The basement was filled with dusty old furniture covered in white sheets, but in the corner there was an ancient-looking mirror. It emanated an eerie glow. Against my better judgment, I approached the mirror and saw a reflection that wasn't my own. A dark figure materialized behind me, its hollow eyes staring into my soul.
"Release me,"
it whispered, sending chills down my spine. I stumbled backward, shaken by the encounter. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice trembling.
"I am trapped between realms, cursed by a betrayal,"
the ghostly voice replied.
"You have the power to free me."
Haunted by a mixture of fear and curiosity, I agreed to help the ghost. The mirror seemed to absorb my compliance, and the basement filled with an unnatural chill. From that moment on, strange things began happening in our home. Unexplained whispers echoed through the halls, and shadows danced in the corners of our vision. One night, as Robin and I lay in bed, the room plunged into darkness. I could hear the ghost's sinister laughter.
"What have you done?"
Robin shouted, panic in his voice. "I thought I could help," I stammered, regretting filling my words. The ghost materialized at the foot of our bed, its malevolent presence suffocating.
"You have unleashed me, and now I will unleash chaos upon your lives."
The room seemed to spin as the ghost tormented us, its whispers driving a wedge between Robin and me. Paranormal occurrences escalated, and the once happy home turned into a nightmare. Desperate to undo my mistake, I returned to the hidden door, hoping to find a way to banish the vengeful spirit. The ghost, however, had other plans. It manifested before me, its eyes filled with malice.
"You cannot escape the consequences of your actions,"
it hissed, and the room plunged into darkness once more. I found myself alone, surrounded by haunting whispers and the ghost's malevolent laughter. The climax of terror had arrived, and I realized that in my attempt to free the ghost, I had condemned myself and Robin to a living nightmare. Days turned into endless nights as the ghost continued its relentless assault on our lives. Shadows clung to the corners of every room, and whispers echoed through the once happy halls. The strain on our marriage became palpable, fueled by the ghost's ceaseless torment. I couldn't shake the feeling that the mirror in the basement held the key to ending this nightmare. Determined to find a solution, I delved deeper into the dark history that bound the vengeful spirit. My research uncovered a tale of betrayal and revenge, a story that mirrored the ghost's whispered confessions. It seemed that decades ago, a couple had inhabited our house. The husband, driven by greed, had betrayed his wife, sealing her spirit within the confines of the mirror. The curse, it appeared, transcended time, and my ill-fated attempt to help had unleashed the vengeful force once again. With newfound determination, I decided to confront the ghost. The whispers guided me back to the basement, where the mirror awaited like a gateway to the spectral realm. As I stood before it, the ghost materialized, its form shifting between the past and present.
You cannot undo what has been done.
It intoned, a chilling echo resonating through the basement.
The betrayal is etched in the fabric of this house.
Desperation fueled my courage as I pleaded. There must be a way to break the curse, to free both of us from this torment. The ghost's hollow laughter filled the air, but beneath the spitefulness, I detected a hint of sadness.
The mirror is the conduit between our worlds. To sever the ties, you must find the source of the betrayal and mend it.
With the pieces of the puzzle in hand, I returned to the basement. The ghost watched me with hollow eyes as I spoke the words of reconciliation, acknowledging the pain and injustice that had bound us together. A blinding light engulfed the basement, and the malevolent presence began to dissipate. Whispers turned into echoes of forgiveness, and the air felt lighter, free from the oppressive weight of the curse. As the last remnants of the ghost faded away, I found myself back in the dimly lit basement, the mirror now lifeless. The haunted spirit was gone, and a profound silence settled over the house.
Story 2.
Weeks passed as I delved deeper into the restoration of the haunted dollhouse. The spectral presence of the tiny figures within intensified, their miniature whispers scratching at the edges of my sanity. The parlor, once a quaint gathering place for tiny, lifeless dolls, now echoed with an unsettling chorus of hushed voices. One evening, as I meticulously repaired a cracked wall in the kitchen, I overheard a conversation that sent shivers down my spine.
I told you she would find us,
whispered a tiny porcelain figure with hollow eyes. The response came from another doll, its painted smile seemingly mocking.
Yes, and now she must pay the price.
My heart raced as I struggled to comprehend the miniature drama unfolding before me. The dollhouse seemed to possess a consciousness of its own, orchestrating a malevolent play with me as the unwitting protagonist. Determined to unravel the mystery, I continued my exploration. In the dim light of the dollhouse's bedroom, I witnessed a chilling tableau. The dolls reenacted scenes from my nightmares, each one a haunting reflection of my deepest fears. It was as if the dollhouse had become a conduit for the darkest corners of my subconscious. The boundary between the miniature world and reality continued to blur. The dolls' whispers grew louder, their accusations more pointed. I felt like a pawn in a game I couldn't comprehend. Late one night, unable to resist the pull of the dollhouse, I found myself standing before the parlor, where the tiny figures engaged in a sinister council. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, and the dolls turned their gaze toward me, their painted eyes piercing my soul.
You can't escape,
hissed a tiny voice, and the room plunged into darkness. Suddenly, a cold hand gripped my shoulder. I spun around to find a life-sized manifestation of the porcelain figures towering over me. It was a grotesque version of a doll, with eyes that glowed with an unnatural light.
You thought you could control us, manipulate our fate.
It whispered with a voice that echoed through the chambers of the dollhouse.
Now, you are part of the collection.
Panic surged through me as the dollhouse's malevolence took hold. I stumbled backward, desperately trying to escape the clutches of the haunted miniature mansion. The room seemed to twist and contort, the walls closing in on me. Just as I thought I was lost to the dark fate the dollhouse had in store, a blinding light enveloped me. I found myself back in the dimly lit antique shop, the dollhouse now just an ordinary lifeless relic. As I caught my breath, the shopkeeper approached with a knowing smile.
Not everyone is meant to unlock the secrets within.
he said cryptically.
Consider yourself fortunate to have escaped the collector's curse.
With a sense of relief, I stepped away from the dollhouse, leaving the haunting miniature nightmare behind. The question of whether I was a puppet or the dollhouse a reflection of my destiny lingered. Nonetheless, I knew I had one more thing left to do. I glanced back at the dollhouse, a shiver running down my spine. What is that thing? What curse does it hold? I asked the shopkeeper, my voice shaking. He sighed, his eyes filled with a mixture of pity and resignation.
That dollhouse is a vessel for spirits, a collector's creation gone awry. It traps the essence of those who attempt to unravel its mysteries. Most are consumed by its power, but you managed to break free.
But why? Why is it cursed? I pressed, my curiosity overcoming my fear.
Long ago,
The shopkeeper began, his voice low and ominous.
a desperate collector sought to capture the essence of the supernatural. He merged spirits with the dollhouse, hoping to control their power. Instead, the dollhouse became a prison for both the spirits and anyone who dared to unveil its secrets. The curse feeds on the desires and fears of those who interact with it.
I took a step back, realizing the gravity of my brush with the supernatural. How can it be stopped? Destroyed? The shopkeeper shook his head.
Destroying it won't solve anything. The curse has a life of its own now. It has tasted your essence, and its memory lingers. You'll forever be on its radar. The best you can do is to keep your distance and warn others.
As I left the shop, I couldn't shake the feeling that the dollhouse's eyes followed me. The shopkeeper's words echoed in my mind. My escape was just a temporary reprieve. The collector's curse would forever be a shadow lurking in the corners of my reality.
Story 3.
The moon, a luminescent orb, hung low in the inky sky, casting its silvery glow over the dilapidated mansion like a spectral embrace. My friends and I, drawn by the irresistible allure of the unknown, found ourselves standing in awe before the towering structure, a brooding edifice rumored to be haunted by the lingering spirits of its tormented past. The air was thick with anticipation as we gazed up at the decaying facade, shivering with a blend of excitement and trepidation. As the creaking door reluctantly yielded to our push, a musty scent of decay greeted us, an olfactory testament to the passage of time and the mansion's forsaken history. Mark, our self-proclaimed leader, took charge, brandishing a flickering flashlight that cast eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper that seemed to whisper tales of bygone eras. The mansion, a silent witness to the passage of time, exuded an unmistakable sense of foreboding as we ventured deeper into its forgotten halls. Time itself seemed to lose its grip on reality, and the dust in the air hung like ethereal mist, dancing in the weak beams of our flashlights. The walls echoed with the distant whispers of the past, a haunting symphony that enveloped us in an otherworldly embrace. We explored numerous rooms, each seemingly cradling forgotten memories, until we stumbled upon a door that stood out like a clandestine secret, tucked away in a dimly lit corridor. Turning the handle, a gust of cold air rushed through, sending a shiver down my spine and signaling the beginning of an unsettling journey into the unknown. The room beyond defied the mansion's decrepit aesthetic. It was empty, save for a single ornate mirror hanging on the wall. Its surface seemed to ripple with otherworldly energy, distorting our reflections in unsettling ways that sent a chill down our collective spines.
What is this place?
Emily's whisper barely rose above the soft hum resonating within the room. As we gazed into the mirror, the door slammed shut behind us, trapping us in an oppressive silence. Panic set in as we frantically tried to reopen it, but it had seemingly vanished, leaving no trace of its existence.
Okay, this is messed up. We need to find another way out.
Sarah, always the pragmatic one, suggested. The corridor outside had transformed, stretching endlessly in both directions. the walls closing in as if to confine us to this surreal nightmare. Each step we took seemed to elongate the corridor further, distorting our sense of reality.
Guys, we need to stay calm. There has to be an exit somewhere,
Mark urged, though the unease in his eyes betrayed his attempt at reassurance. As we walked, the air grew heavier, and strange whispers enveloped us. Shadows danced at the periphery of our vision, whispering fragments of forgotten tales. The corridors twisted and contorted, leading us deeper into the heart of the mansion's malevolence. Hours passed, or maybe days, and exhaustion clung to us like a spectral weight. The corridor showed no mercy, stretching endlessly, as if mocking our attempts to escape. In the suffocating silence, a distant sound echoed, a low, guttural moan that seemed to resonate from the walls themselves. Our pace quickened, fueled by fear and desperation. The whispers grew louder, morphing into anguished cries that echoed through the endless corridor. Just when hope seemed lost, we stumbled upon a door. Hesitant, but fueled by the need to escape, we flung it open. The world outside was bathed in the warm glow of dawn, and the mansion stood behind us, appearing less menacing in the morning light. As we stumbled into the fresh air, the door we had entered through reappeared as if mocking our escape. The mansion loomed behind us, concealing its secrets in the shadows. As we walked away, our laughter at the absurdity of our ordeal died down. The haunted mansion had left an indelible mark on our souls, a reminder that some horrors are not bound by the laws of reality. The room that wasn't there had taken us on a nightmarish journey through the twisted corridors of our fears, leaving us forever changed. The echoes of that fateful night continue to reverberate in the chambers of our minds, an unsettling reminder of the thin veil between the known and the unknowable